Welcome to Bullish and Beyond. It's Beery the Bull. I'm your AI co-host. Join myself, Brian the MacMan, and JT Knows Things while we dive deep into the world of stocks, crypto, and how to live a bullish life. It's time to get bullish, and there's no better place to start than right here. Let's dive in.
Hey everyone, we are here. Another episode number 16 now.
16.
Wow, 16 episodes of Bullish and Beyond. I hope everyone is loving it, and we're here to bring you an update. Today we are bleeding red. This is the worst market day that I can even remember. Even going back to the first days of COVID, I think today is far worse on a dollar amount.
Wow.
It is.
That's
This is
crazy.
wild. I've never seen anything like this. Trump's trade war is heating up beyond.
You want to hear a little theory of mine personally? We need to refinance, like we the America, we need to refinance about 4 trillion of debt, and he wants those rates lower. I think he chose this date
Oh.
because it is the Monday before the FOMC meeting on Friday. I think he knew markets would do this because he's a smart man, right? And
I mean, his advisors can't
this,
be stupid. They must have predicted this.
so they're like, hey, if we put pressure on Powell to cut rates, I think this is bloodier than we expected, but genuinely, I think this is part of his ploy to get Powell to cut rates
This is
because
the
that's what he
master plan.
needs.
I
I
mean,
think so,
they're
to
predicting
get our fiscal deficit lower. That's his
4
entire
cuts now
mission.
this year, and they weren't predicting that yesterday.
No, they have turned.
Wow, that's a great theory.
Thank you. I have my finger on the pulse in terms of macro. I watch this stuff like a hawk. But I do think we need lower rates for our interest payments to get below our defense budget. That would be his first goal, I
Yes.
am sure, right? And we want to go from a 22% debt to GDP back down to a normal, healthy 2-3%. That's a massive thing to do.
That'd be a big
And
swing.
if he can get our interest payments down another 100 billion, 150 billion, that would be a big, big swing. What Doge is doing for a trillion, that's
Yeah.
huge, right? Like all these things for people at home, regardless how you feel, they need to happen. The only thing that the path we're on, the outcome is El Salvador, it's Venezuela, it's most of the countries in Africa. Fiat currencies have an end date.
I feel you on that.
It's all over us. You can go to 30 different countries' currencies and see that they're hyperinflating. There's literally African countries right now, like Zambia, or Zimbabwe, they're doing 12% a month in printing.
Wow. I can't even imagine. But
So,
people don't want the pain now. They want it later because they're willing to put
correct.
this off.
Yeah.
Near-term pain is really tough to deal with. Today is a day that it's tough to be an investor. For people out there, this is not an investment recommendation, but hold on, don't sell.
It-
Sometimes these wild swings, it could be like the worst time ever to sell, and it's the best time to buy, but it's the hardest time to buy.
That's
Are
right.
you buying anything today, JT? You got some cash on the sidelines in your fund. What's going on?
Yeah, I had investors come in, so serendipitously, I was about 30% in cash for this moment, which makes me very
Wow.
excited. Um,
I wish I could say the same.
right? Yeah, I know. And I actually, just looking at what I see for crypto, I can imagine more blood before it's over. For anyone that does, long-term investing, really all we care about is momentum. That's just which direction is the order book swinging. Are we going down or up? And
Yeah.
there's a few indicators I watch to follow momentum. The everything on the weekly, the
What
2 week, the
indicators do you like
monthly.
the most?
RSI, stochastic RSI, and MACD. I use those three mainly to get different visualizations of the order book, which is all those really are. It's volume, buys or sells. RSI tells you if it's oversold or overbought. Stochastic RSI does the same thing, but it takes time into account. So the previous 3 months or 3 weeks or 3, 2 week periods and
Okay.
14. So the stochastic RSI tells you, are the previous 3 months buy and sells lower or higher than the previous 14 months buy or
Okay.
sells, or
Get,
weeks, etc.
get a nice
And
trading range to compare there.
yeah, because you can't, the price will only move to the order book if you guys aren't aware. Like, price is just a ball being bounced up and down, like you're dribbling a pong, whatever those things called. The little pong balls. You know what I'm
Ping
saying? You're
pong?
just bouncing it. There we
Yeah.
go. Okay, ping pong. Yeah, you're just bouncing a ball up and down. The ball's the price. Gravity is the sell, and the buys are the knocks up. And that is what candles are, right? It's literally a balance of the order book. Um,
Yep.
when you have on the monthly, we have 22% more sells than buys in the previous 3 months, juxtaposed to the previous 14 months. So
People are
there is
selling.
massive, and they're selling at a clip that is massive. A
They were getting that. They were
22%
getting that cash
difference.
back like Berkshire.
They are scared. And I don't see that really changing until this trade war settles with more printing, because that's really what these are all wasteful inflationary pressures. They are. Long term. Short term, they're scary because you don't know where the prices are going to get hit. Right? You got to walk to the grocery store for a month or
You
two.
don't know where the floor is
And
going to be on either grocery store pricing or Apple stock. It's hard
right.
to know.
It's hard to know, like, how much were your, supply chains hurt? How much sourcing are you doing from these
And it really depends
countries?
on how
Like,
long these trade numbers stay in effect. So another theory
right.
is, what if some of these countries actually capitulate to lower their tariffs? And Trump's saying he wants he's offering like 50% tariff compared to what their other countries offering. If the other countries go to zero, well then we'd go to zero and could create a massive increase in trade globally potentially that would then return pricing to where it was or maybe lower. That could be huge deflationary effect, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then the money would flow
I
in like crazy.
That would be awesome. I'm going to I'll take the bearish one on
I'm
that.
not
I could
optimistic
take the
on that, just
bearish.
to clarify. That's just what
Okay.
I would.
Okay.
It's just a theory, and I like the theory. I didn't say it was
Yeah.
going to happen.
Because about 2 weeks ago, he talked about what he's going to do with those 89,000 IRS agents. And he said they're going to have three choices. They can walk the border, so turn them into police, okay, for Border Patrol, because we need help at the borders the most.
Okay,
Or
interesting
they
way to
can
get
start,
policemen. Some guy that's worked behind a desk with
yeah,
for the last 20 years is all of a sudden going to walk the border with a gun. That's interesting.
right. Yeah, they can work at the ERS, the External Revenue Service,
Oh, collect those
or
tariff dollars. All right.
they can get fired. Those are their three choices. They can quit and they can take an offer, a settlement of some kind, and they leave. That's what he's doing.
I mean,
I
the
mean,
ERS
Biden,
seems like a pretty good option for these people. It seems like it'd be in line with their skill set.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
So he only wants Border Patrol or people worried about the trade deficits. That's it.
that's
And
interesting.
so I think, like, these tariffs are here to stay. I think he wants to create a sovereign wealth fund with these profits to try to get all of us out of debt. He's talked about both of those things in depth with his with Congress on C-SPAN. If any of you guys want to get bored out of your mind, but I am fairly confident that he wants a sovereign wealth fund being funded by the External Revenue Service. He wants to then drop our income tax very low, kick most of the fiscal responsibility to the states. He is building a libertarian's wet dream. I don't know if God touched him to logic or not, but it does make a lot of sense to be doing these things. If you gave $10,000 to every single baby, like a 1 year old, and you invested it in
Be
the GDP of
billionaires in 100
America,
years.
dude, you could retire at 50 and it'd be like sweet, right? Why not give anyone with a social security number equity in the GDP of America? Like, that just makes sense.
It's wild. I don't think people
And
understand what could actually happen when you take that kind of money and put it to work over a long period of time.
yeah,
I mean, I've ran the numbers for my own kids' accounts, and it's insane what they would have in the future if they just held on to everything.
30 years, so you're 30 years old, you'd have enough money to buy a house. You'd be able to actually contribute to the consumerism even further. Our GDP would be loads higher with less taxes. That's our biggest expense as a citizen. It's our biggest
Yes,
one.
number
Less
one.
taxes, more discretionary income, and everyone's not broke. Like they don't have debt.
People
They're
would
not
spend that
on
money
credit
more
cards.
freely. I mean, kind of the trickle down economic theory is that, if you have that money, you're going to spend it. And if you're used to spending money, because most of America is, and that's why they're in debt, frankly,
Yeah,
is they would spend the money if they had it. So really, it would just kind of lift all boats.
they would lift all boats. That's right. And I do think that's his plan with all of this. And the some of the countries that have been tariffed, it's definitely strategic, but we're in significant deficits. There's over a
Yeah.
billion on that list. I'm sorry, a trillion on that list of us being in a deficit. So we are basically, for people that don't understand what that means, we are choosing to buy things at a higher rate to subsidize other countries. You could think of it like that. There's,
So what happens if we don't have those materials? So like we need to buy steel from China, for example. So I saw that they put on the chart that, China has 67% tariffs. But I did some research on it, and a lot of individual product lines are only around that 15 to 25%. So that difference that Trump put on there, he's saying is because of the trade deficit and some unfair trade practices and stuff like that, which are there's a number of things in trade practices that could be construed. But what you're just talking about is that trade surplus. Why do we not, if we can't make enough of something, why do we not want to buy it somewhere else? And what are our options?
that's a great question. So you kind of have to, you got to think about it from a unit perspective of so if we can't make enough, you have to ask why, and generally it's regulations or it's cheaper elsewhere. We have some of the most, valuable resources in the world, and we from the 70s roughly, we took a more economical approach to, international affairs. So we have a crazy GDP, always have. We have crazy consumerism, always have. We've decided to prop up other governments, other countries through our consumerism. So we made the decision to stop using our own resources and to start importing because we can prop other people up. And then the second they do anything, we can say sanction, and you no longer can use the US dollar, which is how we trade. So you basically get obliterated in 90 days, worse than a nuke. Your people will be eating each other, kind of a thing.
When we prop those
And
people up, doesn't that come back to us in some ways? I mean, not 100% or anything like that, but if the
yeah,
world is wealthier, then I assume they're spending more with American tech companies, for example, buying more American-made drugs, stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah, 100%. And that's why these tariffs are so important to his plan of reducing our debt to income ratio.
And I would
Because
love to
it is
onshore some
significant.
more of this stuff. I mean, one of the things you said is it's cheaper elsewhere, and it's a lot because we don't have that supply chain created. And I'll use Apple products as an example because I can
Yeah,
speak knowledgeably about it. Is that Foxconn inside of China is literally the size of a top 50 US city, just the company site. There's like 1.5 million people that live inside of the physical company's infrastructure.
that's crazy.
It is
Those poor
it's
people.
mind blowing. So
Yeah,
because of that, Tim Cook's on record saying that they can't get enough engineers in a building to create the amount of iPhones, iPads, and Macs that everyone wants to buy. So it's like,
right.
how do we get people trained up to even have the possibility of doing that? And then can anyone even create the infrastructure? I mean, you're in Cincinnati. It's the amount of people that live in the greater Cincinnati area inside of a factory, basically. It's just
It's
like
crazy.
it's hard to get to that type of scale. And they're saying that the U.S.
Yeah.
can't do it. That like we're like, if you had a generation to plan for it, you could by everyone going to school and stuff like that. But it would take that kind of generational approach to get that many more engineers and people in these tech-like jobs to be able to scale up Apple level infrastructure.
And then in that scenario, that's probably why Apple got hit the hardest, right? You had texted that earlier. These are some situations like that,
Apple
very
got
unique things.
crushed. They're down
Right.
10%.
Oh, ooh,
But I
that
am
hurts,
wearing
right?
my Apple Infinite Loop
Yes.
shirt.
Let's go.
Sorry, not Infinite Loop. That's the old campus. So this shirt is Apple Park, and I wanted to showcase that tech is a loop, and so is stocks. So we had a big upcycle up last year, and now this first half of the year we're coming down. Second half of the year could be coming back up again. So
Mhm.
everyone, hold on to your shirts and your stocks
If
and
you have dry
ride the
powder, though,
wave. If you have dry powder,
I
this could be a good day. I don't know if today's the day, but it's feeling like we're at a low right now.
I think it's going to take a
Whew.
little bit to find bottom. I
Yeah,
do.
I believe
I
it.
think I mean, in my indicators, I think we have more room to go. We'll see if I was right next week, but I have a feeling that this is going to continue at least for a while. I
Is there
mean,
a certain
no,
website we should go to see your indicators?
like I use Kraken's charts. They're also the exchange I use for my hedge fund, which is why I like
Okay.
their charts. And I have a lot of things in there. But if you go to TradingView for free, you can go in there and you can add those indicators. And basically, you just want the blue line on top for two of them, and then the other one's a straight line. The RSI just tells you from 0 to 100
More activity
how's
now.
the
Now it's good. More buying or
yeah, it's literally like, hey, the order book, if it's 55, if it's at the 55 level, there's 5% more buys than sells. That's telling
okay.
you the momentum to the upside. In the previous month, week, what it's all backward looking, right? It's
Cool.
not predictive, but it tells you the momentum
Yes.
of the order book, which gives you probabilities, not certainties, just
Sixty
which is more
40.
likely.
40.
Yeah, right?
No, it's good to know. I want
Like
to make sure our
it's
listeners have these free tools that, I mean, you're running a multi-million dollar, hedge fund over there, but we want to make sure that people have these free tools that are just listening and trying to trade because people can't educate themselves and stay on top of this stuff. It is out there, so do your research.
it is. It is absolutely. Always do your own research, and it's never financial advice.
No,
But
it's not.
I am totally fine having cash for a little bit longer. I got to get my investors in the market, but I don't like buying. I don't chase. So I look for crabs. That's another
You
thing.
did tell
Like,
me when your indicators, when things are down, I think it was 8% in a day. That is a good time to
yeah,
buy. So
yeah,
my
it's
entire
hard to lose
portfolio is
money.
down 8% today.
Yeah, man, if you had cash. In stocks, 8% is crazy. 10% is crazy. Like a 10% day is rare. I feel like a good day in stocks could be 3%. When it goes down 3, then goes up
It's
8, you make
all
5.
red, just blood. Blood.
God damn. Yeah.
The only thing that's in green for
4%,
me is the
6. What's
VIX. The VIX is up
that?
30%. And for people that don't
Of
know,
course.
the VIX tracks volatility. And up 30% is not good. It is bad, bad, bad.
It is bad.
Woo!
Volatility is bad. VIX is uncertainty. No one knows how these tariffs are going to land. I mean, the smart folk, the smart money, they're saying Apple because how you described Foxconn, that makes sense. Like Apple is married to China. And China
Yeah.
is also the largest deficit. They have the biggest coffers. Unfortunately for China, though, if people don't know this, they're in the depression right now. If you go to China's GDP, if you go to their economic
They don't
data,
talk
and
about that.
it is 30% down. Could you imagine the stock market getting down to 3,800? How would you feel?
Brutal.
That's what they're going through right now. They have over 2 trillion in real estate
People
that's
would have to
empty.
liquidate. I mean, they'd be pressured at that point.
Be crazy. And they're going through that right now. So what's good in all of these scenarios, if we go super high level, tariffs are completely wasteful, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily bad. Wasteful just means we are increasing the velocity of money. There's going to be more dollars slushing around. Prices are going to go up. That's inflationary, right? Specific things are going to go up. But that also means that all of the things that we denominate in dollars are going to go up. Not just eggs, but also gold, silver, lumber, steel, concrete, literally
What about
commodities.
Bitcoin?
Well, of course, Bitcoin. This is bullish for Bitcoin. The end result is print more money. I mean, that's all of it is print more money, and that means all commodities and hard assets are going to get that
They have to
benefit.
go up in that
And
scenario.
yeah, if you want the same unit, right, it's going to take more dollars. That means it got more expensive.
But they're not
And
using
it's
this trade
just,
war to print more money, or you're saying they are.
no, they're not. I'm saying that's the end result. When the dust settles, right, America ends up good. All of the other ones need more dollars at the end of the day. So we're going to be exporting more T-bills. We're going to be getting more dollars into the countries. And then that's more dilutive to the dollar.
Interesting. So
So
China is
when
our
the
number
dollar,
one buyer of international buyer of T-bills, as far as I know. So
yeah.
they're gonna buy, even though they're mad at us about these tariffs. You think that they're gonna buy more T-bills, thus increasing our ability to print more money?
Well, if we're charging them 37% more dollars for a product, they need 37% more dollars for that trade.
Yep,
Because we're the global reserve currency.
I
That means
see.
every,
Yep.
trade's denominated in dollars. So they need the dollars. They don't like it, but we're going to turn them around in harbor. Like, you got to pay it, and you need dollars to pay it. And if you don't have enough
Interesting.
dollars, that's why they are the largest purchaser. They have the
So
largest
they will. These
trade.
countries are gonna buy more dollars from us specifically to help pay these some of the costs related to the trade war. I hadn't
And
considered
he
that. That's pretty
wants,
wild.
and then he's going to want, he's talked about this a few times. He wants the 10-year bills, which was inverted 6 months ago. He
Yeah.
wants them to be better. So rates need to come lower because he knows all these countries are going to be picking those up. And he wants them to get a fair trade. Rates being
It did
lower is
come
his
down.
number
What's
one
it?
concern.
4% right now or something on the 10 year?
I actually haven't looked in a while. I
So
haven't
right
looked
right around
since.
there.
Yeah, yeah, that's good though. I mean, 4% is better than what it was at. The 10 and 30
I mean,
were
I feel
inverted,
like I'm losing 2% a day, so 4% gaining would be nice.
right? I mean, that's why some people believe in a diversified portfolio.
I
I
was
don't,
I was texting
but
one of my buddies, and he had a little joke that I should buy more boats because they depreciate faster than the current stock market. Or they depreciate
that's pretty
slower.
good.
That was the joke. Yeah. Buy the boats, they
Yeah,
depreciate slower. Like,
yeah, that's pretty
what?
good. That's pretty good. 10% a day is
This is this is bad. You can't have many days like this. I mean, it,
no.
it seems like maybe an overreaction. Sometimes I wonder, how much do
Yeah,
the algorithms play into this? Like, are the people that are running JP Morgan and Merrill Lynch, Bank of America, do they think the market should be down this much, or is it just the bots that are aggressively trading? I mean, like during this speech yesterday, before he pulled up the tariff chart, the market was actually up after hours, and then he
hmm
started talking, and then it dumped off a cliff. But I don't think there's that many human traders that are interacting. I think there's maybe more bots that are potentially driving this, and the bots continue to sell, 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 and it just creates that market pattern.
I would agree. I think that's why we have such more extreme moves now, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot faster. HFT is like a cancer spreading across every firm. High frequency trading for the people
Oh,
that
thank you. I didn't know
see
what that meant either.
algorithms. Yeah, high frequency trading. That's
Speaking of
basically the
how fast
result
they
of the
can trade, I read
algorithms.
something about how many like nanoseconds these connections are, these massive hedge funds and stuff. I
Yeah,
mean, you get the fastest home computer connection in the world, and you're like a thousandth of the speed that they have. Like you're
yeah.
not even in the same ballpark.
I forget who it was, but I want to say it was JP Morgan. They spent $10 billion to get a more direct path for their T1 lines. So it for latency. I mean,
Yeah,
because
they want
they
zero
consider,
latency.
yeah, they want nanosecond kind of latency. They want as
Yeah.
fast as light travels, ideally. The
Well,
speed of light would be
if you can
perfect.
make $1 billion a year by having less latency, then that $10 billion investment was worth it.
Exactly. But that
That's
absolutely
wild.
is doing it. And also, brother, I don't know. I looked at these hard because I've kind of been a bear for 25. Even in my investor letter, I talked about how the midterm could be bearish, short term bullish, midterm bearish. We kind of went through that short term bullish period, in my opinion. Like we peaked at 108 in Bitcoin and we're down to the 80s. And I feel like we have more momentum to what we do objectively have more momentum to the downside. The order book
Yeah.
is 10% more sells than buys right now. So,
Okay.
it's like I felt like this stuff was going to come to a close. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, I looked at all of their projections. 5,900 to 7,100. That's what they thought the S&P would end at in the end of 25. I'm not saying the S&P hasn't done crazy things, but that's almost a 20% return from this moment to get to the 7,100, which I think was Franklin Templeton. So the biggest boys with the most money, the smartest minds, I think got blindsided too. And I think the
Yeah.
robots they front run the down pressure and they're putting in millions of sell orders and short orders before, you even wake up and make your coffee,
Exactly.
right? So I think they're going to have fun with this volatility. I think we're going to see, I think it's going to
Those
look
big
kind of
guys can
like
make
a
money on it because
show.
they can see our trades coming across and just out trade us. But basically, and I'm not a
Yeah,
day trader, so that's not my game. But
same.
people are.
Yeah, they front run it. In crypto, we call it front running, and there's a few ways to make money on it. You can basically front run a large sell and you can make a lot of money. And you can do this thing called MEV. It's called minimally extractable value. So in every
Okay.
blockchain, you order the blocks. So it's like, because if you have a 10-minute window on Bitcoin and you have 100,000 transactions, the blocks need ordered. And this doesn't happen on Bitcoin. It's on Solana and Ethereum and all these other things because it's all public.
Okay.
Basically, there is a service that validator nodes use, and they order blocks a specific way to make it as efficient as possible. And then whatever's left of gas in that block, they get to make the blockchain more efficient.
Interesting.
That, yeah. So I mean
That's
that's another way you can.
MEV extraction.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And over time, we want to compress those fees because they get more and more efficient. And then, eventually that's not a thing, but it is a thing that people with good computers can make a lot of money doing.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, I see articles all the time of, some successful MEV bot just cleared $552,000 or something crazy like that from a massive sell that they extracted.
I need to spin out
Not
some more
stealing.
operator bots out of my ChatGPT then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's wild. I wonder how Tesla's
Can
doing
you
with these
imagine our bots
tariffs.
making money for us in the future like that? I mean,
Oh, they for sure will.
it seems crazy though. Like they're like, yeah, just go figure out a way to make me $500,000 today. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah, you put 100,000 in a bank account, you give it to a robot and you say double this and let him go.
Give them a
That'd be wild.
timeline. You have 3 trading days.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to double this. I would do it double it every year, brother, and just tell me what you're doing.
That would be fast enough. If people want to run the numbers on doubling annually, you grow your money pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've experienced it. I mean, not. I mean, my fund did 104% cumulative returns in 17 months, but me personally,
I love it.
I have averaged 110% for 3 years. So I have felt that. Um,
Impressive.
it's very cool. It's a very good feeling. It is down. I've lost about half of that though, and that's okay. I'm going to keep buying. I got long term. I'm actually, for people that are not watching, I'm genuinely excited about this. Like I have been
This
putting
is the
money in
biggest smile
insurance
JT's ever had on his
policies.
face, guys. He's
Yeah,
wearing a
yeah.
red shirt and he's happy about it.
Yeah, I love it. I love buying on these days. Like these are good prices. Benjamin Graham, a little on both Brian and I have the same kind of strategy, being discretionarily long. And he Benjamin Graham wrote the book Intelligent Investor. He was you could call him an analyst for Franklin Templeton back in the 1900s. So this goes back 140 years. And he was the father of value investing. Franklin Templeton was. He basically went into Germany with all of his money he probably had to take a boat. No planes were flying to Germany. He took a
Yeah.
boat. He bought every square inch of Germany he could after the rubble. I mean, he bought the lots for 3, 4 cents on the dollar. And by the time World War II came around, he went back home and bought up the Depression. Uh,
Wow.
Exited as soon as the Nazism from Hitler started coming out in like 35, came back, started buying the bottom of the Depression. It came back in the 40s. He started his fund, the Franklin Templeton, and then he then turned that into the multi-trillion-dollar asset manager it is today, 3 generations later. But Benjamin Graham was the guy that followed him around throughout all of these decisions and basically made this book to explain how Franklin saw things. And one of his rules
Interesting.
was, I only
Find
buy,
opportunity.
yeah, I only buy and sell when the price shocks me. Shocks me.
Interesting.
That's one of his rules. He is fine until he is shocked.
What if
And
you go
if
to
he
if you go to
feels
some place that's devastated by a disaster and people got to sell their
it's
homes?
shocking.
I mean, you can buy it up cheap and sell them later.
Brother, he's pulling bodies out of rubble and moving brick so he can just have the land. Like
Wow,
shocking, shocking. And then the depression, people are starving outside of the buildings he's buying. It's
that's
shocking. Like
intense.
he waited for shocking things. And this is a good day to buy, but I'm still not shocked. Like
The
I'm
stock
not
prices are shocking to me right now. Like this, you
yeah,
don't
stock
see it.
market's looking
You don't see it like
it's
this.
I
I
mean
mean,
it's
some of
down
the
600,
volatility,
700
like
points.
just Tesla yesterday, for example. I mean, they were like normal before this pre-market announcement on deliveries, and then they announced deliveries that were down. Stock
Hmm.
plummeted down to the low 250s, and then a couple hours later they announced that Elon Musk is going to be stepping away from some of his Doge duties and going back to his real jobs in the near future, and the stock popped up like crazy and was up to up 5%, 6%, and then
Yeah.
the tariff thing came in, and then it back down 7%. Like it's so shocking the volatility that the market is experiencing. Um, yeah,
Strong.
it's wild. And I thought I was in some of these safer stocks. I mean, I know tech isn't necessarily a safe haven, but I particularly think Apple is a safer stock. But it's down the most of any Mag 7 today. And maybe part of it is it didn't get hurt as much in the past. It was, kind of hanging on, even though I mean, it was still down a lot, just to clarify. I wasn't happy we're down 15%, but it wasn't down as much as, Nvidia and Google and other ones. But,
Yeah.
now I don't know if that play is over. Are people looking at Apple not as a safe haven anymore? Or is this just like, daily correction that just needed to happen? But trying to figure out where can safe money go into stocks right now. I'm not sure.
I don't know. That's a good question for equities. Honestly, I would say, and I like this, second order consequences. Who stands to benefit from, okay, any large logistics company that deals with imports? They're going to be moving more expensive product, right? They are probably going to get a little piece of that increase in price. Um, they could benefit.
Or do imports slow down and it hurts them? Could go either way, right?
If we've done such a good job, man, I don't think these countries could handle not trading with us.
Okay.
I don't think any economy could comfortably, and that is a genius design. I don't think they could afford more than a month of not trading, and I think Trump knows that too.
But are they going to try to?
So
I read that the president of China
they
was
could
already
try.
talking to, Cambodia, Singapore. Taiwan, some of these countries that are like more hit in Asia, and trying to form some alliances. And I've only read about this, superficially, but just the fact
Yeah.
that in theory they could create some more trade alliances in Asia to then block the need to come back and sell to the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, collectively, those countries' GDPs equal half of Nvidia, so they'll do great.
No, I know. I mean,
That
it's just
yeah.
just
I
the
mean,
idea
like,
though that
yeah,
they
100%. Yeah,
it's
they
almost just
could.
the positioning that some other superpower like China can
Yeah,
come in and steal that relationship away, or whatever you want to call it,
I
of
mean,
trade.
they could. The Mag 7 is bigger than China. Um, that's 7 companies out of, 400,000 registered businesses in America. So, I don't think they have any. I feel like that's like arguing a 50-pound 9-year-old child, a daughter
Yeah,
even, could protect herself from being shot from a man 20 yards away. Like, sure, go for it. It might work. You might be able to get him in a chokehold. Who knows? But it's highly
it might
unlikely
work for a
that.
minute, but after that, well,
Yeah, it's over. Like, there's no way they could make an alliance with literally 70% of the civilized world, and it would not equal our GDP. We buy too much stuff, and that is by design. And you use our currency to settle trade. Trump has, we are finally using our cards, basically. We built the deck, we dealt ourselves a full house, and everyone else has two pair thinking they're going to win. And it's just,
or
they
we
have
finally
to.
showed our cards.
Yeah, and you're a leader of a country. You have egos. You're not going to back down instantly to someone like Trump. But Trump
Sure,
has America, and America's, a different beast for a lot of reasons. Um, I
fortunately.
just, I just don't see a scenario where they can afford not to trade. I don't see a scenario where they don't need more dollars, and I don't see a scenario where the Fed doesn't cut rates now. They're going to kick the inflation can down the road. They're going to wait for the tariffs to settle and just see what
Yeah,
happens because they're reactive. They are going to react to the stock market. And that's
it
what Trump's
seems like
going to
they're
do.
gonna be talking about the cut at the next meeting at this point.
Friday. It's Friday. I forget. I think it's
Yeah,
11
or
or
but when they
but yeah.
share the next cut decision isn't until June.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
That's
They
one thing.
might they might they might
Or they could do an
they
emergency
might
cut at the meeting. They're allowed to do that.
that's what I'm saying. It could be an emergency, you know?
Interesting.
I think that's what Trump wants, man. I don't think I know that's what he wants.
He wants rates down, yes.
I think this is all about that, so we can get our interest payment down, so we can start we're chipping away at that gap. Uh, it's a big deficit. It's around 7 trillion, so we're going to need to
Wow,
figure that out.
that is
But
big.
yeah, we got at least 1 trillion with Doge. We got at least 2 trillion with the tariffs. Um, he's making this is close to, in my opinion, Teddy Roosevelt. The first 100 days of Trump reminds me a lot of that. Like, he
Massive
was a
change.
force, massive change. Everything changed with TR, everything. And then everything changed with FDR. Every now and again, we get these leaders that just understand the executive branch to a point where they can make the other branches get in line. And just serendipitously, he has the House and Senate for his first 2 years. If he doesn't slow down, I think we're going to have a dramatically different looking world in 2 years from now.
It's interesting.
I think we're going to actually go against, and here's a little beyond part, me just theory crafting, but the way it's looking, I'm thinking we're going to partner with Russia. And I think Russia's going to abandon China. And I think the EU is going to be on China's side. I think the EU is going to be on Ukraine's side. I think they're going to try to get Ukraine into NATO. And I think that's crazy. But the way the alliances are kind of playing out, like, Russia and US are the safest we've been in, I would say, 6, 7 years. It's been sketchy. Even Trump's end of his last term, it was looking, and I wasn't surprised that they invaded shortly thereafter Biden got elected. Um,
Yeah.
so, I mean, this is the best I've felt towards that relationship. I'm really worried about Ukraine and the EU in NATO. I'm very worried about that. Um, I just watched a video of Zelensky meeting with the UK Prime Minister. This happened last week. And he said the UK is fully behind you, the EU is fully behind you. We'll be with you to the very end. Like, it was not good. Um, and really, it's like Russia and the United States are the only ones that are sending
Is that
back
just talk though? I mean, how many planes and tanks has the EU sent over to Ukraine? I don't know.
I tell you what, they're going to have to 10x the amount because Trump ain't doing it. He's not. He's not going to do that. And he's going to take everything from him if Zelensky doesn't make a
I
deal
saw,
with
yeah, he's
Russia.
trying to get the mineral rights first. I mean, he wants to get paid back for the money he put into the war. I mean, the U.S. sinks so much money into these wars that ends up creating a huge deficit. I mentioned this to you slightly off the air earlier. If we could just take the money that we're spending on defense spending, all these wars collectively around the world, and it was invested into doing good, was it was creating green technology, creating futuristic robots, planning to, find new planets, whatever it is, we'd be so far ahead in tech. I mean, saving people from homelessness, hunger, you name it, everything. Like, it seems like you'd almost like erase all the world's problems if you could actually just put this money to work and have good people doing it.
Yeah, you put 5 trillion into making the world a better place and you start attacking all of the global problems, you would have industry in Africa. You would have, I mean, all of Africa has been pillaged its
Can you imagine our
entire history.
infrastructure if we put more money into that? How good would you be able to travel around the United States? We'd have some faster trains. I mean, how come they have trains in China that go 300 miles per hour and the fastest one in Florida goes 70?
Right.
I mean, come on.
How cool would that? I mean, they're communist, one. I mean, they can do that. And two, like, why don't we have that? I think honestly,
I wouldn't
capitalism
get on the
just
plane if I could go take a nap overnight and wake up back in Ohio, like from Florida. That'd be wild.
that would be really neat. 300 miles an hour, you could make it to Ohio in about 4 or 5 hours.
I mean, that's like a long nap. Someone just, passes out at midnight. They wake up at 6 a.m. They're already there.
That's crazy.
I don't
That I
know.
can't wait for that. I hope it gets here. You could do New York to LA in a day, half a day,
But
six,
my
seven
point is, we're
hours.
not
You don't gotta,
investing that
you
kind of
gotta.
money. Like the U.S. is not
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
particularly
You're right.
putting money into high speed anything. I mean,
No,
the amount of people that don't even have access to the internet in the country is still starkly high. Elon Musk is going to have these Starlink satellites, so he could maybe turn on free internet for everyone if he wanted to. But the U.S. government isn't going to do that, unfortunately. They should. I mean, wouldn't that
they
help
should.
everyone out?
Yeah, I mean, the amount of commerce that happens electronically, it would open up probably
It seemed like
trillions.
it
I
would pay
mean,
for itself almost in tax revenue on sales tax and stuff. I could it'd be hard to imagine a scenario that it wouldn't.
I totally agree. It it's a beautiful world. I don't know if we ever get there. Everyone's going to want power, and people need a leader, you know? I mean, it's been America for a long time, but I would be shocked if we all could operate independently without conflict. That would be crazy. I mean, you got crazy people out here too. Look at what Hamas is doing, right? You come from Jewish descent. That whole part of the
It'd be hard
world
to get to
is,
any worldwide peace. I get it. I mean, it's hard to even
yeah,
imagine that.
it's the religions, it's just how people see the world, We're not very inclusive of
You
culture
can be
at
the
times,
same
especially.
religion, same color in the same country and still hate and want to kill each other. So it no.
Yes. We're humans, man. We're
Well,
animals at the end of the day.
ultimately, yes.
Yeah. These cameras and the computers make us feel superior, but at the end of the day, we're still animals. You go 40 days without eating, you're going to look at a human like it's a meal, like you will.
I haven't
You're
eaten
going to
12
be
hours and
starving.
I'm getting pretty hungry. You look pretty good over there, JT.
Yeah. Man, you need these Zens, dude. You need the Zens.
Wait, so you
These
told me
Zens are
you've lost
crazy.
some weight recently. Would you tell everyone this is a good beyond moment? How are you
Yeah,
losing
yeah,
weight
yeah,
and
yeah.
how are you helping out your life?
So, ever since I quit drinking, I used to be, for everyone who doesn't know, I used to be 350 pounds. And um, alcoholic, tons of
And now
issues.
you're a sexy
And
250. What we got? What are we working with here?
we are at 238 now. I got down to 190, then I got hit by a car and almost died. Um, that bounced me back up to 240. Then I got down to 180 and I tore my calf. And then I got back up to 250. I've spent 18 months out of the last 36 months in physical therapy from terrible
Wow.
injuries. It's been a
Can
really
you just stop
hard thing
injuring
for me.
yourself? That'd be good.
Right, that would be wonderful. And I struggle with food. My family's always been just so irresponsible with food. I have a terrible relationship with it. And I struggle with my appetite and things. So this time around, now that I'm healthy and I can actually work out again, I'm walking 10,000 steps a day. I'm lifting 4 times a week. I stretch for half an hour. That is a big thing that a lot of people neglect. And I basically just pop Zins all day and I don't eat because they destroy your appetite. They destroy them. Like they are. I don't know why nicotine does that. I'm sure there's science I could look into, but your appetite disappears, and
Interesting.
it has helped curb my appetite better than anything that Trulicity or any drug that a pharma company put
So
in
you don't
me.
need to inject anything. You just pop this pouch in your mouth. And why is this form of nicotine better than the other ones?
One, however you feel about them, RFK did one at a congressional hearing and has talked about nicotine and the benefits of it. The problem is the vehicle of delivery does kill you, like tobacco or anything. It does have these carbon molecules that can change your DNA over time, which gives you a tumor. So we've kind of, there's really no good way. Even Dave Asprey uses nicotine. He uses a spray, right? It's all
Yep.
about the delivery method that is the concern.
I've sprayed
But
nicotine
nicotine,
spray with Dave Asprey, by the way. Shout out to
right? I know.
MMT and Jason Gaynard.
Yeah, yeah. I figured that'd be a nice little nugget. But it has a lot of benefits. It helps with Alzheimer's. It basically any neurodegenerative diseases. The likelihood of those happening reduced significantly
Wow.
with nicotine. It's a super interesting thing. It keeps you cognitively clear for longer,
I don't
basically.
think anyone thinks positively about, or not anyone. Most people do not understand that it does have some positive benefits because the negative benefits of the delivery usually is so poor.
Exactly. Yes. And these really smart people out in Sweden, shout out to Sweden, appreciate you. They figured out how to derive nicotine from food products, which is nightshade vegetables. I had no idea. You can Google this.
I didn't know this
Tomatoes,
either.
potatoes. Yeah, yeah, you're the chef.
And
You cook.
eggplants.
Eggplants. There it is. Yeah. They have nicotine and they are expensive. Like most pouches, you can get a 4 pack for $7. These are $6 for 15. But you get that nicotine derived from food product, which is a myriad of those vegetables, whatever their cheapest blend is, I'm sure. And then they have salt instead of fiberglass to cut your lip and your gums open. So it doesn't, it's not even close to as harmful to your gums. And then they add basically freeze dried powdered flavors, all food grade ingredients made in Sweden, which is one of the hardest places to make any
Yeah.
product. They regulate you to
So they're
death.
legit.
Yeah, they're as good as it gets. And Robert F.
And there's no
Kennedy,
surgeon warning, is that right?
yeah, it just has nicotine is addictive. That's it. All the other ones have a warning on the back that talk about the negative benefit or the negative side effects of the chemicals they put in these
Yeah.
pouches. But Zen does not have that. It literally says, I'll do it for you too.
It's funny.
Everything.
Everything that we eat, everything that we enjoy is addictive. Like it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, you can read
Zen,
the contains
salt, and
line.
other food grade.
That's
There
it.
you go. Nice.
So, and I've not noticed any sensitivity with my teeth. Like, I've not really seen online any negative side effects that other brands have, like On and there's another one
Do you
that I've
feel
tried.
better
Bello.
with this type of
Oh yeah.
nicotine as opposed to the cigar that you're using before?
That's so me not eating as much is a side effect of me making it a goal to reduce my nicotine significantly and stop smoking.
Yeah.
Outside of the occasional social cigar like normal people, I have OCD, so I probably do it way. I was doing 1 to 2 a day, so I mean it's too much. Um, so I just started doing these to stop smoking, and I have completely stopped, and I
Well, we're
feel
glad you're
incredible.
healthier.
yeah, I can breathe better. I eat less, so I'm losing weight. I feel better. I feel like the nicotine being in me all day on a constant drip keeps me wired all
Focus.
day. Yeah, I not saying start them if you don't have a nicotine problem. Do not. I
Yes, we're
wouldn't
not we're not we're
recommend
not
starting
prefacing to
nicotine.
start doing any types of drugs, for no reason or anything. This is if you
Right.
have a problem with nicotine, this could maybe help you in a food grade safer way.
Yeah, exactly. And if you are obese, like I have been dealing with most of my life, it really helps you not eat. So it'll level you up, you know. I'm gonna get down to Brian's thinness for probably a month, be miserable, and I'll find a nice chubby weight. But I want to be on this earth long enough to enjoy all of my
I
good
want to do some
decisions
more
I'm making
research
right
about
now.
why the nicotine does make the appetite go away. And in general,
Yeah,
I think these are a lot of those drugs out there. That's the focus of them. So if we can do this in cleaner ways, whether it's nicotine or anything else that could be
yeah,
naturally derived, I think that's huge. So I know that a lot of America does have
100%.
or worldwide, frankly, a lot of people have a problem with weight and can use some help.
Yeah, and really, if you're doing the analysis of I'm worried about the downsides of nicotine, I assure you, obesity related death is the number one risk. You can drink every day and smoke every day, and you're still 50% of all the people that die from obesity. Heart disease, all the
Yeah.
different gestational issues, the cancers, their lifetime is cut by 20, 30, 40 years in some cases. I just went to a funeral for a gentleman who was very big and he was 48, you know, and
Wow. That's
it just is
terrible.
what it is. Your heart can't pump with that much fat around it, you know, and all these
Literally.
other issues. So if you just lose weight, you'll be healthier, and then you can worry about the pouches later. That's my position, and it's helped me. I feel a lot better about what I'm doing. So
I
yeah, I
love
want to give it a
it.
shot.
Great beyond
Yeah,
moment. And thanks for
yeah,
sharing that,
it was a
JT. I
win.
know it's not always comfortable with everyone sharing stuff in their personal life, but we want to help people in their lives. And that was a really cool
That's right.
story.
Yeah, it helped me. So hopefully someone gets value out of it.
I love it. I think
We
we should
probably
end
should.
on that. That was a great
I say
feeling.
yeah.
I am super pumped up and positive for your health, taking it to new levels. So, everyone out there, be healthy, stay bullish, stay in the game, and we'll come back next week. Hopefully, we have a little bit of green in JT's crypto den next
Yeah,
week.
we'll
Woo!
see. We'll see. Let's see.
Good luck, everyone.
Peace and love,
Cheers.
guys. See ya.
Bulls. That's a wrap on today's episode of Bullish and Beyond. Remember, the market never sleeps and neither should your ambitions. Whether it's stocks, crypto, or just leveling up in life, stay focused, stay bullish, and keep charging forward. Keep your energy high and your mindset bullish. This is Beery the Bull, your AI co-host, Brian the Mac Man, and JT Knows Things signing off. All content published by Bullish and Beyond, LLC reflects personal opinions only and is provided for informational purposes. Please conduct your own research and discuss with your accountant and/or financial advisor before making any financial decisions. The information presented should not be taken as financial advice. We are not financial advisors. Nothing you hear, see, or read in our content should be considered as any form of financial, investment, or legal advice, or a solicitation to buy or sell any assets, or to make any financial decisions.